Welcome back to Fox News Rising, everybody. About 11 minutes after 8 a.m. on this 5th day of October 2009. Your personality defines you, but should it define your job? Career coach Mark Burch joins us to talk about matching your career with your characteristics. Good morning. How are you?
Good, thank you.
You have the Mark Burch company, or coaching company, I assume. All right, well, unemployment is at the highest it is in decades. How does one really separate themselves? Now, we've talked a lot about this over the last year, but how do you really separate yourself?
Sure. Well, because there is so much more competition, you've got to find a way to get out there amongst everyone else. So the best way to do it is finding out what your strengths are, as well as your personality tendencies, so that you can communicate that to a potential company that's hiring you.
Okay, how do you do that?
Well, the best way to do it is, one, is to identify what your skills and abilities are, as well as your values, dreams, and passions, and then integrate those with your personality tendencies and put that into your resume, your elevator speech, and then even into your interview questions that you would answer.
Should you always get the, I mean, people are really desperate for jobs, and they get a job offer. Should you take the first one you get?
I don't recommend it.
Why not?
Because if you get into a job that's a bad fit, you're going to be unhappy, and then you're doomed to fail. And we know that 56 to 70% of people tend to be unhappy with the jobs that they're at. And that'll affect your performance, which will ultimately affect your health and your home and your paycheck.
Sure. So, but I've always heard that it's always better, it's easier to get a job with a job. Is that true?
Sometimes. I mean, if you're within a company, it's easier to move within to find the job you want, but then why do you want to be miserable the whole time that you're there?
Well, you know, how does someone really determine and understand their personality traits? How do you, like, I mean, well, I know Tara, I think she's funny, I think she's smart, I think she's, you know, obviously attractive, but I mean, what would be a personality trait that she could really market? I mean, how do you determine what that is?
Well, one of the best ways to determine it is use many of the different personality tests that are out there, and the test that we use at our company is called the DISC profile. And it will go through and say, hey, here are areas that you are strong in. So what we want to do is find out areas that we're really good in and not worry about the areas that we're not. So if we're, like you say, Tara, she's smart and outgoing, you want to put her into a situation where she can utilize those talents rather than take someone that's introverted and shy and likes to keep to themselves and put them in that same environment, because they're doomed to fail if you do so.
Okay. Well, and how do you put your personality traits into your resume? I mean, like, how do you integrate that into a resume that doesn't look like you're, you know, bragging about yourself? Man, I'm really funny, and I'm smart, and I'm great, and I'm so pretty. And somebody'd say, or don't you think you're being a little truculent? Yeah, I don't know what truculent means, but if it's great, I'm that. No, I'm kidding. Anyway, how do you do that? Yeah,
well, the best way to do it is to look at your strengths and say, gosh, how would this fit with the ideal job that I want? So if I'm very good with organization or working with small teams versus big teams, then I want to go ahead and put that into the resume to say, you know, I am very detail-oriented and I work well with small teams. I'm a good motivator. And to put those strengths in there, that now stands out to the potential employer to say, hey, that's the type of person we're looking for. Instead of just saying, well, I'm good at doing this, this, and this, I can get 100 people that can do that.
Well, are there certain catchphrases or hot words that you need to use on a resume these days?
Actually, there's words to avoid more than hot words to use. Again, you don't want to use words that aren't accurate about yourself, but you want to stay away from words that say, well, my responsibilities included. Well, of course your responsibilities included to do something, but you want to just say, hey, I'm very detail-oriented, or I'm good with people, or I work very hard on my own, I'm very persistent. Those sort of things stand out much more than just saying, oh, I worked at such and such company working on projects or doing this and that for so many years. Yeah.
To get this job, I said I was very organized and disciplined, and I'm a hard worker. And they're starting to find out that that wasn't true. That wasn't true.
Great.
Mark Burch. I'm just kidding. All right, we got to go out. If you want to find out more about Mark Burch, you can always go to his website, which is markburchcoaching.com.